what I need to do, want to get better. So that's what life is all about, making life more better for yourself.
That's true.
Yeah.
That is true. I don't even know where to start today. Because of other situations last week, I was out of the office from Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. So I have not been able to do anything like get in touch with Gregory over at the Disability Network. And I have been doing so many other things this morning, I haven't even had a chance to do that. So I haven't, I just hate to say this, but I haven't been able to focus on anything in regards to your case since last Tuesday. So I've got to talk with Greg, and I want to talk with Michelle because there's things have changed over here again, and so I need to talk with her and see how we here at MPAS are gonna work with you and work with your case. But I will talk with. I will give a call out to Disability Networks and talk with Greg about the resume and the IPE. Okay?
Yep, the business plan.
And the business plan.
Yep,
Yes.
I'm scheduled Wednesday to start working on that Wednesday with them.
Next Wednesday?
No, this Wednesday.
So, you guys want to call me on Wednesday? And we can work it. I could telephone in and just give my opinions and my ideas.
Yes, that'll be fine, but I still, I think you and Mr. Gregory still need to have that conversation.
Oh yeah, we still do. And I'll try to give him a call yet today or tomorrow. He hasn't left me any messages since I left him last week, and he was supposed to be back on Wednesday. I didn't hear from him on Thursday or Friday, so I will definitely give him a call.
Okay. Asking of your help. Civil rights. 422 is when we had that mediation, and MRS still denying me and depriving me of services since being a customer. February 2016, and I'm asking of your help because they shut my services down and my employment down. They shut everything down.
Okay, I'll have to talk with our attorneys about that.
Well, what I'm saying is in conveying that to civil rights, because everything has stopped. And that is my right as a customer at MRS. All of this stuff wasn't supposed to stop, and for everything to stop and still all of this stuff is not in place. That's what I'm asking, that I get the appropriate recourse, because I'm adhering, but they're not adhering. So that need to be conveyed to civil rights, Mr. Saban. Because 422 we had another mediation, and again they shut me all the way down. I'm a customer at MRS, but everything is shut down. And if when you shut everything down, then the case don't supposed to be open. And I know we're gonna address these things in a hearing, but this is what the policy says. So are we gonna adhere to it? Are we gonna adhere to it or not? And I'm adhering to policy, so therefore I have rights, and the service is supposed to continue on, and they're not.
Right.
I'm not getting nothing is being done, and now we working with the Disability Network because I'm not willing to drop the ball on myself, and they willing to help.
Right.
But MRS has shut everything down without legitimate reasons to do that from policy. And
Yeah,
this needs to be conveyed to civil rights because it's stopping me from being able to provide services. I've already entered to employment, Mr. Saban. This is a big deal here.
But didn't you already have a civil rights complaint against them?
Yeah, but they didn't do it right the first time. So I can always still file a complaint if it still exists, if it's still going on, and it is. 422.
You're saying that civil rights didn't do their job correctly?
When I filed the first one, they sent that investigation back with what policy requires to be done as for MRS staff and what's required for the clients, and none of that stuff that states what the law states, that because the policies are based off state and federal laws, and none of those papers was there or signed, but they put it in the investigation.
Okay, but the investigation is done, right? What were their findings?
That's what I'm saying. With the investigation, it wasn't done. The investigation wasn't done right. They gave MRS the credibility to the things that they are not showing that they did. MRS, like the stuff we're talking about now, you're supposed to be drawing up. The stuff that's supposed to be in place. Like I gave an example of the like the business plan and the feasibility study. Both of those things was done without me and you having a copy of the amendment.
Right. So
That's a policy requirement.
what time is your meeting Wednesday?
It's 10, around 10.
Okay. Why don't you guys, once you get there and you're talking with Gregory, give me a call, and that way I can be on the call and we can start doing that, okay?
Right, but what we're talking about now with the services that has been stopped, my employment has been interrupted.
Well, we can talk about filing another civil rights complaint.
Right, that's what I'm talking to you about now.
I have to talk with one of my attorneys. I have to talk with the attorneys to see if they will get involved in doing that.
Or this show me how to do it.
Yeah, well, that's okay.
And that's more or less, but really you are there to support me in that when that happens. But this even conveying that to the investigators, that's much of a support. This even sharing that my rights are being violated.
So let me talk with them and our general counsel person and see where we can go with that issue, okay?
So how long do I have to wait before I hear something back?
Today's Monday. I'll probably let you know we can talk Wednesday after we talk with Mr. Gregory. How's that?
Okay. Now, if I go up to civil rights, because I plan on doing that too. I mean, I don't understand what like I said, this needs to be filed. We went into mediation on 422, and I just realized that now all this time I just realized this myself, that everything has been shut down. Just like when I'm thinking that all the stuff that they asking me to do, that we're moving forward, but in reality we wasn't moving forward because none of that stuff is still what you would say authorized by policy. All the stuff that's been done is still not authorized by policy, Mr. Saban. You cannot amend these things without doing what the policy says.
True.
So we still moving in the same direction in what they did in the beginning when I first requested the services, when me being a customer. They still wasn't providing me appropriate services and adhering to policy. So we still right there. like we 3 years into them doing this. If I didn't follow policy, my case would be closed.
You're right.
I generated income, and they shut my employment down. I've entered into competitive employment as required by the federal law under the Ticket to Work program to supplement my income. I enter into employment with non-disabled people. I've generated income. It's been a nominal amount because of those services that was not appropriate. Now, because I filed to get appropriate services, I wasn't supposed to be punished for that, Mr. Saban, or this retaliation going on. That wasn't supposed to happen. The things like I gave an example of the feasibility study and that business plan. When they did that, that's what they supposed to do. They supposed to put those things in place so it'll reflect policy and support the employment. That's what they supposed to do. Not start me all over.
Right.
They started me all over, but before they started me all over, and they defamed me too, defamation of character. So even freedom of speech is not absolute. You're a third party, and Mr. Galloway was a third party. Both of y'all was told that I wasn't certified, and both of you have my certifications. So we went on for over a whole year. The first authorization that was done after the feasibility study was done for the business plan was to be done. That sat there for 9 months, and then they finally canceled that authorization because that's when when the defamation of character came in. Right after they did the feasibility study, and it showed that me as an independent contractor that it would be feasible for me to continue on. And it was authorized for him to do the business plan. That's when they defamed me. They said I wasn't certified. That's when Ms. Morris.
Right.
So we all of this stuff that's going on here. These things are required. These things are required in order for me to have an IPE. These things was not done. Here I got staff doing stuff against policy, against the things that reflects my abilities and capabilities and the resources that I have, because I filed a complaint. And they retaliate on me. With you first.
Say that again?
I said I filed a complaint with you first, they retaliate on me. I filed a complaint with civil rights, it just get worse and worse. They shut me all the way down, my services and all.
You're right. So we can. Like I said, I'll talk with somebody about getting you some kind of assistance in writing a civil rights complaint. I've never written a civil rights complaint. I don't know exactly, but and then if you tell Mr. When you meet with Greg, you guys give me a call and I'll do whatever I can to help write the IPE. Okay.
What about Ms. Roberts? Because I know Ms. Roberts have shared to me that that company there, y'all trying to run a $15 million company. So somebody has to know how these things go.
Right. And so we'll talk with one of our attorneys.
Somebody got to know.
I'll talk with Ms. Roberts. Okay.
All right. So you said I can look forward to hearing from you and Mr. Saban, because I want to get the ball rolling on this complaint.
I'm hoping it'll be tomorrow or after we talk with with Greg. Okay.
Okay. All right. Thank you. All right. Thank you, Mr. Saban.
Thank you.
All right. Bye-bye.